The rain-slicked streets of Manhattan swallowed Elijah whole that first night. His father's voice still echoing like a gunshot. "You're no son of mine." Disowned at 22. Wallet empty. Phone dead in his pocket. He collapsed against a dumpster in an alley off Wall Street. The empire he'd been groomed to inherit, now a ghost haunting his every breath. But it was the stranger's hand, rough, calloused, pulling him up from the filth, that ignited something fiercer than survival. A spark named Lucas, eyes like storm clouds over the Hudson, whispering, "Hey, kid, you look like you could use a fight." Or a friend. Elijah's lungs burned as he stumbled through the downpour, the skyscrapers looming like judgmental titans, their lights blurring into accusatory halos. He'd been the golden boy of Harlan Enterprises, heir to a real estate dynasty that clawed its way from Brooklyn brownstones to gleaming condos dotting the Miami skyline. His father, Victor Harlan, built it on grit and greed, evicting families for profit, flipping neighborhoods like poker chips. Elijah had idolized him once, shadowing board meetings in starched shirts, dreaming of the day he'd sign his name beside Victor's. But dreams shatter on truths too raw to swallow. It happened in the oak-paneled study of their Palm Beach estate, the air thick with cigar smoke and unspoken cruelties. Elijah had come out to his father after months of choking silence, the words tumbling out like a confession in a confessional booth. "Dad, I'm gay. I can't pretend anymore." Victor's face had twisted, not with shock, but disgust, a vein throbbing at his temple like a fault line about to crack. "Gay?" He'd spat, the word a venomous hiss. "In my house? Under my roof? You've poisoned everything I built for you." The slap came next, sharp and echoing, followed by the cold decree. "Get out. You're dead to me. Don't come crawling back." Elijah had packed a single duffel, clothes, a photo of his late mother smiling from a yacht deck, and the silver cufflinks Victor gave him for his 18th birthday. No goodbyes to the staff who'd raised him, no pleas to his absent mother, gone to cancer when he was 12. Just the front door slamming shut, the humid Florida night pressing in, and a one-way bus ticket to New York, the city of reinvention, or ruin. Now, blocks from the financial district, the alley reeked of garbage and regret. Elijah slid down the brick wall, knees to chest, the rain mixing with tears he refused to acknowledge. Headlights sliced the darkness, tires hissing on wet asphalt. A truck idled, its driver, a burly guy in a soaked flannel, mid-30s, with a beard framing a jaw set like carved granite, hopped out, umbrella forgotten. "Jesus, man, you okay? This ain't the place for a nap." Elijah looked up, vision blurry, and saw not pity, but something rawer, concern laced with the weariness of someone who'd been broken too. "Just leave me," he muttered, voice cracking. The man crouched, undeterred. "Name's Lucas. And nah, I ain't leaving you to drown in your own misery. Come on." He extended a hand, ink-black tattoos snaking up his forearm, anchors and roses, stories etched in skin. Elijah hesitated, then grasped it, pulled into a world that smelled of coffee and engine oil. Lucas bundled him into the truck's cab, cranked the heat, and drove without questions to a dingy diner on the edge of Chinatown. Neon sign flickering, open 24/7. Over greasy eggs and black coffee at 3 a.m. The dam broke. Elijah spilled it all, the disownment, the empire's shadow, the hollow ache of loving men in a world that demanded he bury it. Lucas listened, stirring sugar into his mug. his gray eyes steady as the East River tides. "My old man was a dock worker in Philly," he said finally, voice gravelly with his own ghosts. "Beat the queer out of me with a belt buckle till I ran at 16. Joined the Marines to prove I was man enough. Came out stateside. Got kicked out anyway. Now I haul freight cross-country, chasing horizons that never quite catch up." He slid a napkin across the formica, his number scrawled in block letters. "World's full of assholes, Elijah. But it's also got room for guys like us. Call if you need a lifeline." Elijah didn't call that night, or the next. He crashed in a hostel off Times Square. Job hunting by day, barista gigs, delivery runs, while nights blurred into fever dreams of Victor's sneer. New York chewed him up. The subway's metallic roar, the endless hustle of suits who smelled like money and malice. But Lucas's words lingered, a tether in the storm. A week later, desperation clawed him to dial that number. "It's Elijah. I need that fight you mentioned." Lucas showed up at the hostel stoop in jeans faded to white at the knees, a six-pack dangling from one hand. They walked the High Line that evening, the city a glittering vein beneath their feet, autumn leaves crunching underfoot like fragile promises. Lucas talked trucks and tattoos, the freedom of the open road. Elijah confessed his Harvard dropout shame, the real estate texts he'd memorized like scripture. Laughter came unexpectedly, sharp and healing, when Lucas mimicked a pompous client. "Sir, your manifest is as dense as your cologne. By the Hudson's edge, under a sky bruised purple." Lucas turned serious. "You ain't defined by that old man's hate, Elijah. You're the guy who survived the rain. That's power." Their hands brushed, accidental, electric, and neither pulled away. Elijah's heart hammered, a forbidden rhythm he'd suppressed for years. Lucas's thumb traced his knuckles, tentative, then sure. "This okay?" A nod, and their lips met, soft at first, then deepening with the pent-up fury of outcasts finding home. It wasn't fireworks. It was shelter, two souls anchoring against the gale. Months blurred into a rhythm. Elijah scraped by, enrolling in night classes at NYU for business, waitering at a Soho bistro where the tips funded his dreams. Lucas became the constant, weekends in his cramped Astoria apartment, cooking chili from canned beans, bodies entwined in quiet intimacy, whispers tracing scars both seen and unseen. "You're building something," Lucas murmured one dawn, fingers in Elijah's hair as sunlight slanted through blinds. "Don't let the past steal it." But the past was a predator, circling. News clippings filtered in, Harlan Enterprises teetering, Victor's aggressive expansions backfiring in a market crash, whispers of shady deals with offshore investors. Elijah devoured them in library corners, a masochistic ritual. He imagined storming back, demanding his birthright, not for revenge, but redemption. Lucas saw the shadows in his eyes. "Let it go, babe. We're enough." Yet ambition festered, a seed in fertile soil. Elijah aced his courses, networked at alumni mixers, landed an internship at a boutique investment firm in Midtown. His mind, sharpened by loss, dissected deals like a surgeon, undervalued properties in the Bronx, green tech startups hungry for capital. By 25, he was junior analyst, then associate, his reports crisp prophecies of profit. Lucas beamed at promotions, toasting with cheap beer on fire escapes, but worry etched his brow. "Don't become him, Elijah. The empire that cuts you open. Elijah promised he wouldn't. Their love deepened in stolen moments. Road trips to the Cape in Lucas's truck. Hands laced over gear shifts. Lazy Sundays in Central Park. Feeding ducks while debating Hemingway versus Baldwin. Lucas opened up about his ex. A fellow vet lost to addiction. The guilt that chained him. Elijah shared his mother's laugh. The way she'd sneak him poetry under Victor's nose. They were each other's confessional. Absolution in flesh and faith. Then, the call came on a sweltering July eve. Elijah's phone buzzing like a hornet as he prepped pasta in Lucas's kitchen. Unknown number. Miami area code. He answered, pulse thundering. Elijah? Margaret. Your father's housekeeper. Her voice trembled. He's sick. Bad. And the company's imploding. Creditors circling like vultures. The world tilted. Victor, invincible Victor, felled by a stroke, bedridden in that same study. Harlan Enterprises hemorrhaging, lawsuits from evicted tenants, a botched merger with a cutthroat developer named Royce Caldwell, who smelled blood and moved in for the kill. Margaret pleaded. He asks for you. In his fevers. Says he's sorry. Lucas found him on the fire escape later, staring at the skyline's indifferent glow. Go if you need to, Lucas said, wrapping arms around him from behind. But come back to me. We're the empire that matters. Elijah flew south the next dawn. The plains hum a dirge. Palm Beach hadn't changed. Palm fronds whispering secrets, ocean azure and unforgiving. The estate loomed, a white elephant bloated with ghosts. Margaret met him at the gate, older, wearier, hugging him like a prodigal. Victor lay propped in silk sheets, tubes snaking from arms, his once iron frame shrunken. Milky now, widened at the sight. Eli. Boy, words failed. Elijah sat, holding a hand that once struck him down, the room heavy with unsaid sins. Why? He finally whispered. Why cut me off? Victor's breath rattled. Feared you'd weaken it all. The legacy. But I was the weak one, hiding behind walls, pushing away what I couldn't understand. Tears tracked his cheeks. I read about you. In the trades. Rising star in New York. Proud. So damn proud. It cracked something in Elijah, a fissure widening to chasm. They talked haltingly. Of Elijah's mother, her quiet queerness in letters Victor burned. Of the deals that devoured Victor's soul, leaving him hollow. Caldwell's coming, Victor warned. Wants to gut the company, flip it for scraps. Sell to him, and it's over. Elijah returned to New York with ghosts in his carry-on. Lucas held him through nightmares, their love a bomb against the burn. But resolve hardened. He wouldn't let Caldwell pillage what his mother helped build, flaws and all. At the firm, he pitched it, a quiet acquisition, pooling silent partners, leveraging Elijah's insider knowledge without a whisper of Harlan blood. The boardroom war unfolded in shadows. Elijah, anonymous bidder through proxies, outmaneuvered Caldwell's bluster with surgical precision, exposing embezzlement in Royce's books via a whistleblower tip, sweetening offers with community reinvestment clauses. Headlines screamed, Mystery Investor Saves Harlan Empire. But Elijah stayed veiled, a specter in pinstripes. The closing was in a sterile conference room overlooking Biscayne Bay, salt air seeping through vents. Victor, wheeled in by Margaret, gripped Elijah's hand under the table as signatures flowed. Caldwell's face purpled, accusations flying. "Who the hell are you?" Elijah met his gaze, calm as a gathering storm. "The son who came back. Not for you, for the people you would have crushed." Victor passed a week later, peaceful in sleep, a letter on his pillow. "Forgive me. Build better." Elijah scattered ashes off the family yacht. Lucas at his side, the sea swallowing sins. Back in New York, autumn painted the city gold. Elijah restructured Harlan Enterprises, affordable housing initiatives, LGBTQ youth shelters funded from profits. Lucas quit hauling, joining as operations lead, his steady hand guiding the wheel. They bought a brownstone in Brooklyn, walls echoing with laughter, not echoes. One crisp evening, on the High Line where it began, Lucas knelt with a ring simple platinum, engraved with anchors and roses. From cut-off to cornerstone. "Marry me, Elijah." "Yes," he breathed, pulling Lucas up into forever. The skyline watched, indifferent no more, a canvas for their quiet empire, built on love's unyielding ground. Elijah woke to the scent of rain on concrete, Lucas's arm heavy across his waist, the Brooklyn brownstone creaking like an old friend settling in. It had been 6 months since the acquisition, since Victor's ashes kissed the Atlantic, and the world felt both heavier and lighter, like shedding a coat too tight for too long. Downstairs, the kitchen hummed with the promise of coffee, but Elijah lingered, tracing the faint scar on Lucas's shoulder, a marine memento from a desert skirmish he'd only half confessed. "You staring again?" Lucas mumbled, eyes cracking open, a sleepy grin tugging his beard. "Guilty." Elijah leaned in, stealing a kiss that tasted of toothpaste and tomorrow. "Just memorizing." They'd turned the brownstone into a sanctuary. Exposed brick walls lined with bookshelves groaning under Baldwin and Wharton. A rooftop garden where tomatoes blushed red in summer sun. Harlan Enterprises, no, Harlan Legacy now, thrived under Elijah's vision. Board meetings shifted from cutthroat conquests to collaborative blueprints. Retrofitting Miami high-rises with solar panels, partnering with nonprofits to reclaim foreclosed homes in the South Bronx. The press dubbed him the Phantom Philanthropist, but Elijah dodged spotlights, preferring the quiet power of ledgers balanced with humanity. Lucas adapted slower, his trucker rhythms clashing with spreadsheets. "Feels like playing dress-up in your world," he'd admit over takeout Thai, chopsticks pausing mid-air. But he dove in, his logistics savvy streamlining supply chains for affordable builds. Their first joint project, a youth center in Hell's Kitchen, safe space for queer kids adrift like Elijah once was. Groundbreaking day, Lucas in khakis and a button-down, hammer in hand, quipped, "Who knew I'd trade semis for shovels?" Elijah laughed, but beneath it simmered unease. Whispers reached him, Royce Caldwell, licking wounds from the buyout, rallying old allies. Sour grapes, Elijah dismissed to Lucas that night, tangled in sheets as thunder rumbled distant. "He's a bully without teeth," Lucas propped on elbow, brow furrowed. "Bullies grow fangs when cornered. Watch your back, babe." The first strike came subtle. An anonymous leak to the Wall Street Journal, dredging Elijah's disownment, painting him as a vengeful prodigal undermining his father's legacy of excellence. Headlines twisted, "Harlan heirs revenge. From exile to empire grab." Protests erupted outside the Miami HQ. Tenants Victor evicted years back. Signs scrawled, "Blood money builds nothing." Elijah fielded calls in his corner office, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the Hudson's moody flow. "It's misinformation," he told his PR lead, a sharp-witted Latina named Sophia. "Counter with facts. The housing units we've restored." But doubt gnawed. Late nights. He'd pace the brownstones' living room, bourbon in hand, Victor's letter yellowing on the mantel. "Build better." Lucas found him there once. 2 a.m. Glass trembling. "Hey," he said soft, drawing Elijah to the couch. "This ain't just business. It's personal. Let me in." Elijah resisted at first. Old habits, the Harlan armor of stoicism. But Lucas pried gentle, sharing his own fracture. The night his father found letters from his ex, burning them in the backyard fire pit while Lucas watched from the shadows, 14 and terrified. "I armored up too," Lucas confessed, voice rough. "Thought love was a liability. Till you." That vulnerability bridged them deeper. They attended therapy together, queer-affirming sessions in Chelsea, unpacking generational toxins. Elijah learned to voice fears. Lucas, to trust beyond the road's solitude. Intimacy bloomed not in grand gestures, but quiet ones. Lucas's thumb brushing Elijah's temple during headaches, Elijah surprising with Philly cheesesteaks after long hauls. Then Caldwell escalated. A lawsuit dropped, fraud allegations, claiming Elijah manipulated insider info during the buyout. Discovery dragged. Depositions in fluorescent-lit rooms where lawyers dissected Elijah's past like lab specimens. "Admit it," Caldwell's counsel sneered. "You hated your father enough to sabotage him." Elijah's voice held steady. "I hated the silence more. This is redemption, not revenge." Publicly, the toll mounted. Investors wavered. Stock dipped. At a gala for the youth center, black tie under crystal chandeliers, Elijah fielded sympathetic murmurs, eyes pitying over champagne flutes. Lucas, uncomfortable in cummerbund, stuck close, hand at Elijah's low back. "Screw him," he growled when a donor probed too deep. "We're unbreakable," but cracks spiderwebbed. Elijah withdrew, snapping over misplaced files, nights scrolling legal briefs till dawn. Lucas confronted him in the kitchen one gray November morning, rain lashing windows. "You're shutting me out." "Like he did you." The words landed like a gut punch. "I can't lose this," Elijah exploded, chair scraping tile. "It's all I've got left of him, of us." Lucas's face hardened, hurt flashing. "Us? Or the Empire? I'm right here." "Elijah." "But if you choose ghosts over flesh." He trailed off, grabbing keys. The door clicked shut, a sound sharper than any slam. Elijah collapsed at the table, head in hands, the brownstone echoing empty. Hours blurred. He wandered the streets, coat collar up against drizzle, past the high-line skeletal vines. Regret churned. Lucas, his anchor, adrift because Elijah couldn't moor. He texted, simple, raw, "I'm sorry. Come home." Lucas returned at dusk, drenched, apology unspoken in his stance. They met in the hallway, foreheads touching, breath sinking. "Don't let him win," Lucas whispered. "Not Victor. Not Caldwell." United, they fought back. Elijah unearthed dirt, Caldwell's history of predatory lending, evictions mirroring Victor's worst. With Sophia's spin, it hit the Times expose framing Harlan legacy as the antidote. Donors recommitted. The suit crumbled, dismissed for lack of evidence. Christmas came tentative, A tree strung with lights in the brownstone's bay window. Lucas hung an ornament, 2 silver anchors entwined. For the storms we weather. Elijah pulled him close by the fire, gas flames dancing blue. I almost lost you to my own storm. Won't happen, Lucas vowed. We're the calm after. Spring thawed the city, and with it, new beginnings. The youth center opened, ribbons snipped, kids streaming in with backpacks and bright eyes. Elijah spoke at the dedication, voice carrying over the crowd. This isn't about empires of stone. It's about building homes where hearts can heal. Lucas watched from the wings, pride swelling. Later, on the rooftop garden, amid blooming jasmine, he turned to Elijah. Remember that alley? Thought I was saving a stray. Turns out, you saved me. Their kiss lingered. City hum a lullaby below. Betrayal's shadow faded. Love, enduring, lit the way forward, a quiet empire, vast as the American dream they reclaimed. Summer heat baked the Brooklyn pavement, turning the brownstone stoop into a skillet. But inside, air conditioning hummed a cool reprieve. Elijah pored over blueprints at the dining table, now commandeered as command central for Harlan Legacy's latest venture. A co-op in Queens, artist lofts intertwined with family units, fostering community where isolation once reigned. Lucas sprawled on the couch, boots off, scrolling job listings not for himself, but to vet hires, his eye for reliability unerring. Found a gem, Lucas called, tossing his phone. Ex-Army engineer, specializes in sustainable builds. No drama, just does the damn work. Elijah glanced up, smiling. Hire him. Your instincts beat my algorithms. Their partnership had evolved into symbiosis. Elijah's strategic mind plotting horizons, Lucas's grounded grit executing the climb. Evenings, they'd debrief over rooftop barbecues, burgers charring as stars pricked the skyline. Feels like we're stealing back time, Elijah mused one night, fork spearing watermelon. Lucas nodded, juice dripping chin. From the bastards who tried to bury us, idol shattered in August, a phone call from Miami slicing the haze. Sophia. Voice edged panic. Caldwell's at it again. Dug up something on Victor old offshore accounts. Tax havens from the 90s. He's spinning it as inherited corruption. Regulators are sniffing. Elijah's fork clattered. Victor confessed it all before he died. We disclosed. Paid penalties. It's clean now. Not to them, Sophia countered. Board's jittery. We need to counter hard. The fallout cascaded. Audits launched. Headlines reignited. Harlan heir inherits father's sins? Protests swelled. Not just tenants now, but activists chaining to HQ fences. Chants of no justice, no legacy, echoing through news feeds. Elijah's inbox flooded. Resignations from wary execs, donors pulling funds like ripcords. He threw himself into damage control. Days bleeding into nights at the Midtown office. Takeout wrappers piling like evidence of siege. Lucas ferried meals, but tension crackled. You're a ghost here, Lucas said one midnight, finding Elijah slumped over reports. We need you home. Can't? Elijah snapped, rubbing temples. If this sinks, everything does, the centers, the co-ops. Our life. Our life. Lucas's laugh was bitter. Or your redemption arc. I'm fighting ghosts too. Elijah. Mine don't sue. The words hung. A guillotine blade. Elijah reached, But Lucas stepped back. "I Stormy. I love you. But love ain't a solo mission." Silence stretched taut as they lay that night. Backs turned. The bed a chasm. Morning brought fragile truce. Coffee shared wordless. Lucas's hand lingering on Elijah's shoulder at the door. But fracture lingered. A hairline that widened with each missed dinner. Each curt text. Caldwell struck personal next. Paparazzi swarming the brownstone. Flashes popping like gunfire. Elijah Harlan. Comment on the scandals. A grainy photo leaked. Him and Lucas kissing on the rooftop. Captioned, "Legacy's secret. Heir's lavish lifestyle amid lies." Queerbaiting venom spewed online. Slurs in comment sections. Boycotts called by conservative donors. Elijah's phone exploded. Board ultimatums. Sophia's crisis calls. He barricaded in the office. Blinds drawn. Ignoring Lucas's knocks. Hours later, Lucas breached. Shouldering in with takeout bags. "Enough. We're doing this together." Face crumpling. Elijah broke. "They'll use us. Twist our love into weakness." Lucas knelt, cupping his face. "Let M. Our strength's in the truth. Victor cut you for this. Don't let Caldwell do it again." Bolstered. They strategized. A press conference. Elijah raw and unscripted. Flanked by Lucas, Sophia, and center kids clutching signs. Harlan builds homes. Not hate. He faced the cameras on the HQ steps. "My father was flawed. A man of his era. Blind to love's shapes. I inherited his empire, not his errors. We've paid debts. Forward." And yes, turning to Lucas, hand clasped bold. "This is my partner. My rock." Harlan legacy stands for everyone, queer youth, evicted families, dreamers like us. The clip went viral. Shares surging from allies. Glad endorsements. Celebrity retweets. Donations poured anew. Regulators cleared the audits. Victor's sins contextualized as relics. Not chains. But victory soured private. Lucas, drained from the spotlight's glare, confessed over whiskey that week. Never signed up for fishbowls. Makes me miss the road. Anonymous miles. Elijah's gut twisted. Is that what you need? Space. Apart. Lucas's grip tightened on the glass. Nah. Just real. No more hiding behind boardrooms. They recommitted. Date nights enforced. No phones after 8. Therapy resumed. Unpacking how public eyes revived old shames. Lucas's discharge stigma. Elijah's disownment scar. Intimacy reignited slow. Walks in Prospect Park. Leaves crunching confessions. Slow dances in the living room to Coltrane. Bodies remembering rhythm. Fall deepened. And with it, a olive branch from unlikely source. Margaret, phoning from Palm Beach. Found letters. Your mother's. To Victor, begging understanding. And one to you sealed. Dated before she passed. Elijah flew solo. Lucas's go heel echoing. The estate, willed to him, felt less mausoleum now, sun streaming through dust motes. Margaret handed the envelope, hands trembling. Inside, his mother's script, flowing cursive on linen paper. My dearest Eli, if you're reading this, no love isn't lineage's prisoner. It's the quiet revolution, in hearts, in homes. Build yours fierce. And forgive, if it frees. Tears blurred ink. Victor had kept it, hidden perhaps from shame, or hope. Elijah pocketed it, wandering the grounds, ocean crashing judgment-free. Back in Brooklyn, he shared it aloud by the fire, Lucas listening rapt. "She saw you," Lucas said, voice thick. "Before we did." Winter blanketed the city in hush. Harlan legacy stabilized. Co-op groundbreaking in Queens a triumph. Families moving in. Artists unveiling murals of intertwined lives. At the ceremony, a teen from the youth center approached Elijah. "Shy, your story." "It gave me courage to tell my dad's." Elijah's throat closed. Lucas squeezed his hand. Unseen anchor. That night, rooftop under snowflakes, Lucas pulled a small box from his coat. Not the ring yet, but a key, etched with their initials. "To the cabin I bought upstate. Our escape. No empires, just us." Elijah's laugh bubbled free. "Lead the way." In the Adirondacks' embrace, wood smoke curling, they shed city skins. Days of chopping wood, nights of stories by hearth, Lucas's sea tales, Elijah's poetry recitals. Betrayal's echoes faded to whispers. Love, their loudest legacy. The new year dawned crisp. Brooklyn streets dusted in frost. The brownstone aglow with strings of lights. Lucas insisted on tradition, Harlan style, but with more grit. Elijah watched him from the kitchen window, humming off-key to Springsteen as he untangled bulbs, breath-fogging glass. 3 years since the alley, 2 since the buyout. Their life, once a patchwork of survival, now quilted with intention. Flawed, but theirs. Harlan legacy expanded. Satellite offices in LA and Chicago, each seeding local initiatives, trans housing in WeHo, mentorships for Black queer entrepreneurs in Bronzeville. Elijah keynote at Pride events, his story a beacon, from cutoff to cornerstone. Lucas, ever the shadow operative, managed the grit, negotiating with unions, ensuring builds honored workers' scars. But peace proved fragile. February brought a ghost unbidden. An email from an unknown sender. Subject, the real Harlan secret. Attached, scan docs, yellowed ledgers from Victor's early days. Not just tax dodges, bribery, coerced land grabs from indigenous parcels in Florida Everglades. The sender, anonymous, but watermark faint, Caldwell Enterprises. Elijah's hands shook as he printed them, spreading pages across the dining table like a crime scene. Lucas walked in mid-shift, grease-streaked from site visit, freezing at the sight. "What fresh hell?" "Caldwell's Hail Mary," Elijah said, voice hollow. "Dredging graves to bury us." The implications cascaded, potential class actions from displaced tribes, federal probes. Elijah's board convened emergency, virtual faces grim on screens. "Divest," one urged. "Cut ties to the past." "No," Elijah countered, fire kindling. "Confront." Reparations, fund restoration, scholarships. Turn poison to purpose. Lucas backed him silent. But later, in bed, tension uncoiled. This could torch everything. "You, me, the centers." Elijah turned, meeting gray eyes. "Then we rebuild from ash." Together, the storm hit hard. Media frenzy reignited. Elijah's press conference dissected. Admirable, but is it enough? Protests morphed, alliances fracturing. Some allies decrying white savior optics. Sleepless, Elijah fielded hate mail, slurs carving deeper than Victor's slap. Lucas bore it quiet, But fractures showed. Cancelled plans. Silences stretching. One stormy night, after a donor bailed citing reputational risk, Lucas snapped over dinner, cold pizza, uneaten. You're chasing his absolution still. What about ours? Elijah recoiled. This is ours, the life we built. Is it? Lucas stood, chair toppling. Or his empire in disguise. I see you fading, Elijah. Like I did on those roads. Running from pain till it runs you. The fight erupted. Accusations flying. Elijah's obsession. Lucas's withdrawal. You think I don't fight? Lucas roared. Every day. Proving I'm more than muscle for your machine. You are. Elijah yelled. Voice breaking. But I can't quit. Not when kids like that boy depend on it. Lucas stormed out. Door slamming thunder. Elijah sank to floor. Sobs racking. Mother's letter clutched like talisman. Hours passed. Dawn grayed windows. No text. No key turn. Panic clawed. Elijah drove aimless. Over bridges. Past the High Line's iron bones. Searching alleys for echoes. Noon. A call? Lucas. From a bar in Astoria. Need you. The dive reeked of stale beer. Jukebox crooning Dylan. Lucas hunched at corner booth. Eyes red-rimmed. Shot glass empty. Called my sister. He admitted. Voice slurred soft. First time in years. Told her about us. About you. Elijah slid beside. Hand on knee. And, she said. Family's what you fight for. Not from. Lucas turned. I fought you tonight. Wrong battle. Forgiveness flowed wordless. Arms wrapping. Tears mingling. They cabbed home. Collapsing entwined. Apologies whispered in dark. Recommitted. They pivoted. Elijah hired tribal consultants. Co-crafting reparations. Land trusts returned. Cultural centers funded. Public mea culpa aired. Elijah on podcast. Lucas guesting. Sharing scars. Victor's sins weren't Elijah's to bear alone. We're owning them. Together. Allies rallied. Probes closed with settlements fair. Spring bloom tentative. Brownstone garden revived. Elijah planting perennials. Lucas mulching. Dirt under nails a therapy. But betrayal's root delved deeper. May unearthed the sender. Not Caldwell direct, but a mole Elijah's own cousin. Theo Harlan. Victor's brother's son. Bitter over bypassed inheritance. Confrontation in a neutral cafe. Theo sneering. You stole it all. The name. The cash. Time to pay. Elijah. Lucas at flank. Held steady. Stole? I earned. From nothing. Join or fade. Theo's laugh cracked. Fade? With what I know. But Elijah countered. Evidence of Theo's own schemes. Petty but damning. We're family, Theo. Or were. Choose. Theo slunk away. Tail tucked. Lawsuit threats evaporated. Summer solstice. They escaped to the cabin, lake mirror still. Pines whispering benediction. Bonfire crackled. Marshmallows toasting golden. Lucas. Guitar borrowed from a neighbor. Strummed soft. Original. Halting. Verses of alleys and anchors. Choruses of home. Elijah listened. Heart full. That's us. Damn right. Lucas set aside. Pulling Elijah close. Marry me? For real this time. No empires. Just vows. The ring followed platinum band. Rose-etched. Yes, Elijah breathed, world narrowing to embers and eyes. Fall wedding, small, Brooklyn backyard, under autumn canopy. Vows exchanged, in storms and silences. I choose you. Rings slid. Cheers rose, Sophia toasting, kids from centers scattering petals. Honeymoon in the Keys, ironic nod to roots, kayaking mangroves, sunsets painting them bronze. Cut off no more, Lucas murmured, toes in sand. Elijah smiled. Returned, whole, back. Harlan legacy soared, global now, but rooted. Betrayal forged them unbreakable. Love, their eternal yield. Autumn leaves carpeted the brownstone stoop in crimson and gold, a fleeting mosaic before winter's whitewash. Elijah and Lucas's first anniversary approached like a milestone etched in amber. 365 days of vows tested, tempered, triumphant. The cabin key hung by the door, a talisman of escapes. The wedding band on Elijah's finger caught light, a quiet gleam. Harlan legacy hummed at peak. The Queens co-op thrived. Tenants hosting block parties. Chicago outpost broke ground on a queer elder care facility, blending autonomy with community. Elijah jetted between coasts, Lucas syncing schedules like a maestro. You're glowing, Sophia noted at a strategy lunch, Midtown bistro buzzing. Marriage suits you, us, Elijah corrected, grinning. He's the steady, yet steadiness masked undercurrents. Whispers of expansion tempted. A merger with a Silicon Valley green tech firm, promising scale but strings, venture capitalists eyeing Harlan's soul. Board pushed, go big or stagnate. Elijah hesitated, consulting Lucas over FaceTime from a LA hotel. Skyline sprawling neon. Feels like selling out. Victor's ghost again. Lucas's image pixelated slight. Bar lights haloing. Then ghost it. We're big enough. Decision deferred. But pressure mounted. November gale. Back in Brooklyn. Elijah pitched against sustainability over spectacle. Vote split. Chairwoman, a Victor-era holdover named Elaine, cornered him post-meeting. Your sentiments noble, but business demands bite. Or are you still playing prodigal? Sting lingered. Home. Elijah vented to Lucas over stew, venison from upstate hunts. She sees me as the kid I was. Lucas stirred pot. Back broad. Prove her wrong. Your way, but doubt seeded. December. Merger loomed inevitable. Elijah signed prelims. Stomach nodded. Launch gala at the plaza. Chandeliers dripping opulence. Suits swirling like sharks. Lucas, tuxedoed uncomfortable, stuck to shadows, nursing soda. Mid-toast. Elaine pulled Elijah aside, breath wine-sweet. Proud of you, finally. Victor would be. Her pat on arm felt patronizing, but words wormed. Approval, long craved. Lucas witnessed, jaw tight. Drive home silent, brownstone dark. What was that? Lucas asked. Coat shrugged off. Nothing, Elijah lied, loosening tie. Bull, Lucas faced him, eyes flint. You lit up. For her. For them. It's business, Elijah defended. Networking, or chasing ghosts? Lucas's voice rose. Rare fracture. Signed the deal today. Felt it in your shoulders all night. Elijah deflated. It's growth. For us, for the legacy. Legacy? Lucas laughed sharp. Yours or his? I married you, Elijah, not Harlan. The chasm yawned. Words escalated. Elijah accusing withdrawal. Lucas betrayal of principles. You promised better, Lucas hurled, echoing Victor's slap in timbre. Elijah flinched. And you promised faith. Door slammed. Lucas gone again. Truck rumbling into night. Elijah paced. Bourbon burning throat. Wedding band twisting skin raw. Hours ticked. 3 a.m. Voicemail. Lucas. Voice wrecked. At the High Line. Come. Tracks gleamed under sodium lamps. Wind whipping scarves. Lucas leaned rail. City abyss below. Ran here first time we fought. Thought about bolting. Like old roads. Elijah's heart seized. Don't. Lucas turned. Tears tracking. Won't. But we're drifting. Babe. Mergers a chain. Dawn broke as they talked. Raw. Relentless. Elijah admitted fear. Stagnation meant failure. Failure meant unworthiness. Lucas confessed envy. Elijah's world expanding. His role shrinking to support. Need to feel essential. Not accessory. Pact forged. Therapy intensive. Merger audit for ethics. Back home. They burned prelims in the hearth. Flames devouring ambition's excess. Our scale, Elijah vowed. Winter solstice. Upstate cabin blanketed deep. Snowshoeing woods. They unearthed a frozen pond. Skating clumsy. Falls into drifts. Laughter echoing. By fire. Mulled wine warming. Lucas pulled a journal. Entries scrawled. Their story in verse. Read it, Elijah urged. Lucas cleared throat. Voice gravel poet. Stanzas of rain-slick alleys. Boardroom battles. Rings exchanged. Ended. In empires of ice. We thaw to spring. Elijah's applause dissolved to kiss. Slow and sure. Publish it. Anonymous. For the kids who need words. Spring thawed deals. Board relented. Merger nixed for organic growth. Harlan Legacy innovated internal. Incubators for employee startups. Queer-led ventures funded first. Elaine resigned graceful. Whispering to Elijah, you did build better. Summer scorched. But brownstone cooled with fans whirring. A package arrived. Theo. Cousin redeemed. Postmarked Miami. Inside, family ledger. Annotated Victor's sins marked. But redemptions too. Theo's hand. Our turn. Elijah shared with Lucas over picnic in park. Blanket spread. Falafel cooling. Family. Mending. Lucas chewed thoughtful. Like us. Fall circled back. Anniversary eve. Rooftop. Stars pricking velvet. Lucas knelt anew. Not proposal. But renewal vows recommitted. Bands polished. Through betrayals reborn. Elijah echoed. Wind carrying words east. Below. City pulsed. Their quiet conquest. Love's vast domain. The calendar flipped to another December. Brooklyn's chill nipping at collarbones. The brownstone festooned in evergreen boughs Lucas foraged from upstate. Real trees. None of that Charlie Brown nonsense. Elijah, knee-deep in year-end reports, paused to watch. Lucas wrestling garland. Cursing cheerful. Beard dusted white. 5 years from the alley. 3 wed. Time. That sly architect. Had layered them. Wrinkles faint at eyes. Laughter lines etched permanent. Harlan Legacy spanned coasts now. A constellation. Miami's Everglades restored to co-stewardship with tribes. LA's artist enclaves pulsing creative. Elijah's book dropped last spring. Memoir co-penned with Lucas. Anchors Away, From Cutoff to Cornerstone. Bestseller in LGBTQ lit. Proceeds seeding scholarships. Readings packed houses. Q-in as brimmed vulnerability. Love isn't plot armor. It's the plot. Yet zeniths summon shadows. January thaw brought ill winds. A rival conglomerate. Vanguard Properties, headed by a slick millennial scion. Alex Reed poached key execs with fat offers. Whispers. Sabotage. Caldwell's network lingering like smoke. Elijah convened crisis in Chicago outpost. Snow swirling Lake Michigan. Loyalty bonuses, he decreed. And counter, equity shares for all. Lucas, on site for builds. Texted, handle it. I'm your wall. But erosion crept. February. Sophia tendered notice, lured to Vanguard. Citing fresh vision. Her goodbye lunch. Dim some steam rising. Stung. No disloyalty. Eli. Just burnout. Your ways noble, but slow. Homebound flight. Elijah stewed. Lucas met at gate. Arms open. She'll regret, he murmured. Cab ride warm. Doubt festered. March. Vanguard announced a blitz. Luxury towers in Bronx plots Harlan eyed for affordable. Headlines crowed. Reed revolutionizes. Where Harlan languishes. Boardroom erupted. Fight fire with fire. Elaine's successor, a hawkish vet named Marcus, pushed aggressive bids. Elijah resisted. Our souls in sustainability. Vote teetered. Elijah swayed it, but cost toll. Nights, he tossed. Victor's letter mocking from nightstand. Lucas soothed, but weariness showed. His journal entries sparse. Freelance consulting gigs piling as Harlan strained. Climax cracked April Fools, irony bitter. Anonymous tip. Vanguard's funding? Laundered through shells. Reed's father a disgraced banker. Elijah's team verified, but leak traced to internal Marcus. Vanguard plant. Confrontation in boardroom. Glass walls trembling under storm. Traitor, Elijah accused. Doc slamming table. Marcus smirked. Opportunist. Your humanity is hemorrhage. Reed pays for winners. Lucas. Bursting in unannounced. Instinct from a gut call. Flanked Elijah. Presence granite. Winners? Or weasels? Security hauled Marcus. Fallout purged moles. But breach scarred. Trust fractured. Projects stalled. Elijah, hollowed, confessed to Lucas that night. Brownstone rain-lashed. I'm failing them. Mom's revolution. Your faith. Lucas pulled him to rug. Fire crackling. Failing? You're human. That's the win. Therapy delved deep. Betrayal's echo. Marcus as Victor Redux. Boundaries, their counselor urged. Protect the core. Rebound swift. Exposé dropped. Vanguard crumbling under SEC scrutiny. Reed called. Voice oily. Truce? Coffee? Elijah met neutral, coffee shop neutral ground. No truce. Accountability. Terms. Vanguard dissolves Bronx plans. Funds Harlan's community pivot. Reed capitulated. Humbled. Didn't see it coming. The quiet buyer. Elijah smiled faint. Learned from the best. Summer healed. Cabin retreats. Lake swims washing wounds. Lucas's journal revived. Chapters for their sequel. Tempests tide. Fall harvest. Brownstone overflowed kin. Margaret visiting. Theo toasting kin mended. Youth Center alums. Now mentors. Sharing tales. Anniversary 6th. High line. Full circle. Lucas. Bouquet wildflowers. Knelt playful. Renew again? Eternity's a habit. Elijah laughed. Pulling up. Forever's our empire. Winter waned. Spring bloomed verdant. Harlan legacy. Resilient. Launched global arm Africa partnerships. Sustainable villages. Elijah keynote UN panel. Lucas beside. Empires fall. Love endures. Betrayal's forge yielded gold. A family. Vast as horizons they chased. From cut-off specter to cornerstone kings. Their story, dramatic, tender, wrote America's heart anew. In quiet moments, brownstone hearth aglow, Elijah traced Lucas's tattoos, anchors eternal. Returned, he whispered. Home, Lucas replied, kiss sealing saga.